Hey queer friends, are you ready to be inspired? Welcome to Season 5 of Coming Out and Beyond, a podcast that shares stories from the LGBTQIA+ community. Here's your host, Anne-Marie Zanzal.
Hi, this is Anne-Marie Zanzal, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Coming Out and Beyond LGBTQIA+ Stories. I am so excited to welcome Layla and Erika Quinones to the show today. They owned a small shop in a little town in Tennessee called Pulaski, and the shop was called Soul Waves Sanctuary. What is really cool about them is they started a pride celebration in 2021 called Pulaski Pride. And the first year they got over 1,300 people. And so I want them to share the story of Pulaski Pride and the stories of who they are as people. Just giving you a warning, their son is with us today, so we might have a little voice peeping in and out, but just send the little boy some love. We'd appreciate it. So, Erika and Layla, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right. So the first question I ask, and since we have two of you here, tell me your story, but tell me each individually about how you sort of came to the realization you were not straight. And if you could just say your voice so people can know whose voice is whose.
I'll let you go first because I always talk. I talk a lot, so I'll let you
Okay,
go
so
first.
this is Layla.
Yeah, I'm Layla, but
Erika.
going to be speaking now, so go ahead.
Okay.
I don't think I ever had like that aha moment. When I was like maybe 12, I knew I was attracted to. Like there was a girl that used to come around and stuff, and I knew I was attracted to her, but I just was like, well, I didn't know anything about being gay or lesbian or anything like that. I just knew that I was attracted to her. And then when I was about 16, 17, I did fall in love with a girl. And she was kind of conflicted with believing in God and being with a woman. So she was kind of like back
Well,
and
you
forth.
can do both.
Right. And so I remember us actually going and hanging out at the church and stuff, and they took me back at the church and was like, you need to stay away from her. You're being a bad influence on her. And I was like, oh, I see where this is going. So I stopped going. I was like, I'm not going back. And that was like my first bad experience with the church and stuff like that. But after that, I just dated men because it was just clear. Up until I met Layla, and I kind of was just like to the point where I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna try to date women because this is ridiculous. So I met
Erika,
Layla.
how old were you guys when you met?
Oh my gosh.
I was oh wow. Oh God, how old am I? I think I was 38.
And I was like 32, maybe.
Oh, you guys look a lot younger than that. I thought you were in like your late 20s. So
I was 38 and
No.
42.
I'm 37 now,
And I'm 43. So
okay. So you did come out later then. I mean, you were somebody that put the gay away because you got in trouble.
right.
And did you grow up in Tennessee?
No, I grew up in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I'm from the North too, so.
And the thing is, when my mom found out that I was seeing a girl when I was 16, she flipped out. Like she was like, that's against God. I remember so clearly and how hurt I was about it because my mom is my best friend. So I was so hurt. And then I mean now she loves Layla. Like she walked me down the aisle, everything. But it was I think she just needed to kind of evolve as a person and realize.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of times, even if you have what is known as progressive parents, a lot of times they're okay with people being gay, just not their kid. Yeah. And so sometimes it takes them a while. Like sometimes with parents, like we may know all this about themselves, but we don't share it with them. And so sometimes it takes them a couple years to like catch up, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so Layla, what's your story?
Ooh, my story's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. So I am one of five. I have a trans sister and I have a gay sister. So growing up was really difficult for me because my mother despised gay people. When I say she despised, she just a little bit of backstory. We all suffered severe abuse because of that. And so my coming out stories is a bit sad, but it does get better. I came out, well, when I was about 5. I knew that I was a bit different. I knew that there was something different about me whenever I would see, a little girl or woman, not to sound perverted, that sound like first, but I knew that I felt different. And when I was about 13, I had written my mom a letter. And now, mind you, my mom's at that time was really, really religious and, in the church heavily. And we were always in church doing something in church. And she took the letter, she read it, called me in the room after she read it. I was about 13. And she told me she said, "So what are you saying to me? Are you gay?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You know that that's a sin, that it's disgusting, and you need to go and pray and ask God to deliver you." You're telling this to a 13-year-old who already had been through tremendous amount of abuse and things like that. And yeah, so she said that I had what was the word she used? A reprobated mind. I guess it was something in the Bible that she had about something about my mind being sick, whatever. And I didn't mention it anymore after that. I was I don't know what you can and can't say on here, so
Well, go ahead. We will edit it.
So I was,
we edit if we have to.
Okay, so I was very hypersexual because I had been abused sexually. So it was something that I was very interested in. I was like, oh my God, let me experiment, let me see. So I went through my younger teenage years just experimenting, trying to figure out, what it was, and why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And then a really bad incident happened at 13. We're not going to go into that, but that kind of solidified me being gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so after that, it was kind of like, whatever. I got older. I started dating a woman at 18 or 17. And the second time I came out to my mom, I was 18, and we were driving in the car and we were talking about something. And it was kind of like, Mom, hey, if I have sex with a woman, I'm going to use protection. That's kind of how I came out. And then she looked at me and she said, "So you're gay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And from that moment, it wasn't really bad. I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't really bad. It was just kind of like my mom had to kind of get used to it because she had my sister who's trans. She, she had to kind of go through that.
Yeah, that's very difficult for parents.
Yes, that phase. So she kind of paved the way for me to be able to come out. And then my baby sister, she came out. None of us knew she was gay, like none of us. And like all of a sudden, she comes home with a woman and 3 kids, and we're like, "What? Okay." Of course, I got blamed for that, but it is what it is. I have learned to accept myself and to love myself. And my mom, now, she loves Erika. Our relationship still kind of teeter-totters back and forth, but she's not, hateful to her. She, she loves her. She treats her with respect. She loves our kids and stuff like that. So it's been a journey, but I'm glad that my mom is in the place where she is now. How we had to get to this.
Let me ask you a quick question. Since 3 of your 5 siblings are not straight, do you think your mom struggled with this herself? And like, just because when people there's it's part of internalized homophobia, but it's like a next level internalized homophobia. Like for example, when we see somebody that is in politics and like it looks, they seem like they're not straight and they're making all these hateful laws against people. It's sometimes like I wish I could remember the word this morning. It's early here. But it's like this internalized homophobia that's taken to the next degree. Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you might have developed attraction for other women, or you may be thinking that you possibly may not be straight.
And, sometimes women find themselves falling in love with other women very unexpectedly. So what do you do if you always thought you were straight, but you can't get a woman out of your head and thinking that you might want to be more than just friends?
That's why we have an amazing workshop coming up called Beyond the Closet Door.
That's right. The workshop takes place June 11th to the 13th at 7 p.m. Central Time. So who is this free workshop for?
It's for any woman. If you are cis, trans, non-binary, comfortable in women's spaces, who are rethinking their sexual identity and wondering, as I said before, if they aren't quite as straight as they thought they were.
Okay, so is this workshop for women of all ages?
Yes. Actually, later in life is self-defined. The youngest people we've had in our program have been in their mid-20s, while the oldest have been 75 plus.
Well, that sounds great. So how does someone sign up for the free workshop?
Go to the link at comingoutssupport.net and you'll find it on our podcast show notes too.
So that's Beyond the Closet Door, a free online workshop, and you can sign up at comingoutssupport.net.
Yeah, see you there.
I don't know if she struggled with it. I know that she did tell me stories about my biological father. I don't know him. She has told me stories. I've only spoken to him maybe once or twice in my life. And she was saying that she did catch him with another man.
Mm-hmm.
So, that she was like, we got new furniture one time and didn't know how. And then she figured it out. The guy had bought her furniture and put it in the house, bought her furniture, put it in the house. And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, whatever. Like those are stories. I'm just kind of like, oh, wow. Okay.
Well, that makes sense then. Yeah.
But my mom at one point, it was like a deep rooted hate. Like it was so sad. And we really suffered because of that. But now it's more like, I love you, but I hate the sin kind of thing. And that's a whole big Christian weird thing that they do. And I'm just like, whatever. It's sad, but my mother has come a long way and she is a good person when she wants to be. And we kind of just leave it at that. I love her for where she is right now. And that's kind of okay. So.
All right. So do you still live in Pulaski?
We do.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us what Pulaski, Tennessee is.
Pulaski, Tennessee, for some of you who do not know, is the birthplace of the KKK. It is a very interesting place. When we first moved here, we weren't expecting to be here.
We were scared.
We were terrified, actually. When we moved here, we were just kind of like a thing of put your finger on the map, let's just go. We didn't know the history. We didn't know the history.
Didn't know the history. Okay.
And we were like, oh, okay, Pulaski's cute, it's small, everybody knows everybody. Literally, like, you can't go anywhere without somebody knowing who you are.
And our daughter has autism, so we wanted somewhere quiet.
Yeah, someplace quiet for her. So when we actually learned that it was the birthplace of the KKK, we were terrified. We were like, what did we do? Like, why did we do this? So it was interesting for the first 6 or 7 months. And eventually we got to know a few people here, and it was nice. They were kind, they were sweet,
and they kind of told us like the story behind the KKK
and all that stuff. And a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people that live here hate that Pulaski's known for that, because they're like, this is not what Pulaski. Yes, it's a car baby. It's not, Pulaski's not, even though it's known for that, that's not what Pulaski's about. You do have a few that are like over in space someplace, whatever. But for the most part, we've met people that have been like, we're not like that. You got to give it a chance. We love everybody. And we've met people like that.
Pulaski has come a long way. I mean, we've had people say that they won't even drive through Pulaski. And we're like, it's really not
that bad. It's not what a lot of people think it is. You have to come and actually experience it to understand it. The people here, we've met some wonderful people, but we've met some crazy people too.
It's just like anywhere.
Yeah, we've met a few crazy nutbags, and we kind of just learned after our experience with our business to kind of just do our thing and let them do theirs. They're going to say what they're going to say. They're going to act how they're going to act. It is what it is. We just kind of just have to keep pushing forward and try to, try to make Pulaski a better place for what we want to make it, like what we want to put into Pulaski. So,
well, so for people who are listening, and Erika and Layla are an interracial couple too, which adds another layer to this entire story besides being a lesbian couple.
Right.
Like, to me, I'm thinking to myself, does it add extra stress in your life to live in a place like Pulaski?
At first it did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even sometimes, even now, I mean, sometimes I'm like, I want to like hold her hand when we're out. And I'm like,
She's shy. I'm not.
I
Give me your hand.
could sense that.
She worries because she's like, what if somebody gonna say something? I mean,
you're so getting hurt. Like we have our kids and stuff, and I mean, if we were up in New Jersey, I wouldn't worry so much. Like everyone's like open
Texas,
about
it. I've never had to like. I mean, being from Texas was like our lives were completely different. Like she had this picture of fairy tale and me, and I'm just like all kind of hell breaking loose and stuff. But like it was never like a thing. Like if you were gay, you were gay. It wasn't a big thing. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't you don't talk about it. You know, if Uncle Leroy comes in the house and you know he has a boyfriend, we don't talk about them. We just kind of let them do what they do. So as long as you didn't talk about it, as long as you didn't like they weren't affectionate or anything like that, then but you knew they were together, then everything was fine. There was no conversation.
But all right. Well, so I'm going to push back a little bit. Is it fine though when you don't even acknowledge that they have a relationship? And
no, it is not fine. I'm not saying that it was.
Okay.
That's just how we were raised. Like we don't talk about that. You know, if you go to church, don't sit next to each other. You see, let him sit over on the other side of you. Sit there. It's fine. But we never talked about it, and I'm glad we didn't because I think it would have been a serious situation if we did. So
yeah.
But Pulaski is a really good place, and I am not afraid anymore. Like in the beginning, because we have a daughter who has autism, and we try to protect her as much as we can, and try to bring love and light into her life, and we don't want her to experience anything like that. So we just, at first it was real scary. I was like, oh my God, what did we do to ourselves?
especially when we had our shop.
Yeah, now our shop.
And going through the first Pride, that was scary because we lived on top of our shop. Also,
well, first of all, when we first started the shop, we didn't. We had a friend of ours who had a restaurant here. I don't know if we're going to go into that right now. We're going into that right now. We had a friend who had a restaurant, and one day she and I were there. We were eating, and just talking. It's like, man, we want to open up a business. Like a spiritual shop, candles and stuff like that. And I wanted to do some readings, and I wanted to, be like, oh my God, we want to do something to kind of just. We are kind of attached at the hip. So we were like, we want to have a business. We want to work together. We work so well together. And the owner walked past and was like, hey, I just heard you guys having a conversation about owning a business. What kind of business? We told her about it. And she was like, okay, so what if I told you I have a spot upstairs, big, nice size spot for you guys to have a business? And we both are kind of like, girl, we didn't even know you. Bye-bye. Kind of like brushed her off. And then she was like, well, come upstairs. We went upstairs, we saw the place. And she was like, do you want it? And we were like, yeah, I mean, it's perfect. And she was like, okay, here's what else I'll do for you. I'll let you have it for 6 months, no rent. And you guys just see what you can do in 6 months. And if you do, then we'll pay a little bit of rent. Like, it wasn't even a lot. It was really like nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you're kidding. She was like, no, come by Wednesday. We'll sign the paperwork. We went by Wednesday, signed the paperwork, and we had a business just like that. Now, I'm a big person of faith, and we really didn't have much at the time. And I was like, man, I don't know how we're going to fill this place with, with merchandise. I don't know what we're going to do. And just so happened, I had called a place, and I was like, hey, we're starting a business. Can you guys help me out? And I was like, well, they're probably going to say no. And those people were like, you can get this amount, and there you go. And I was like, okay, I'm on the way. Let's get this business started. It all kind of just fell into place for us. And it was amazing. The 2 years we had it was beautiful. We helped so many people. We loved on so many people. We had a lot of kids, a lot of young people come.
It was a safe space for especially young LGBTQIA plus people and just young people in general.
I mean, I loved it because they would come, and I can't tell you how many stories that I heard about young kids or young people going through their transition or going, with their parents, and they would come and like play Uno in the shop, and they'd be there for hours just hanging out with us. And we loved it.
It sounds like you all created something for the community that it desperately needed. And so you can't, it was like, it honestly, you know, the way it started, I do believe the universe pushes us in directions. And it sounds like the universe was pushing you guys in a direction, because like to have someone offer, you know, to be talking about a business and to have someone offer you a space and minimal, like that's just, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were just shocked.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, okay, so we know we're meant to do this. And so just, you know, we were like, huh, you know, Pride is coming up, you know, do something, you know, Pride. And it was like, well, we have the space back here.
Like a little tiny park and
we said, well, let's just see what happens.
See if we can
you
get
know?
a couple vendors and
maybe cook out and have some people come just to kind of celebrate it. And it went from us talking about having 40 people to us renting out a bigger place to having 1,300 people coming. And let me tell you, it was the most amazing thing I had ever experienced. And I've experienced quite a few things in my life, because we had people coming to us and they were saying, thank you. We appreciate you guys for doing this. You have no idea how much this was needed here. We had people come from all over just to tell us how they felt about us doing what we were doing. Now, we didn't really know like the magnitude of that until Huntsville news came down. They were like, we want to interview you guys. And I'm like, hey, now I've been running around all day. You know, no, I don't know. And then I was like, no, Layla, we need to do this because people really need to know about this. So that was the first experience we had with the media, because I'm like, oh, they want to interview us. What do we do? You know, like I've never done this before. And so it was so amazing. We had so many beautiful people come and kids.
The drag show
was amazing.
Insane.
So the building can only hold maybe like 300 people. We had close to 400 people in that building, like spilling out of it to see the drag show. And it was probably the most energetic, loving, powerful experience. And I think all the people that were there were just like in awe that there is another, you know, there are other people out there and other cultures out there and other, I mean, this is amazing, you know. And I remember just sitting on the side just with tears in my eyes and just amazed and shocked that this is actually happening. It was incredible. Like I don't even know we've had that experience after that. Like when we had some good experiences after that, but like that one, that time was amazing.
It just touches my heart. It touches my heart that so many people came out to support you all. It touches my heart that, you know, you guys were like, let's just have a little barbecue for Pride.
Yeah.
And 15
or something, you know, hot dogs.
Okay. So I want to, because you all are doing this again, and I want to get the word out. So tell us about the aftermath. You guys decided not to do it the second year. So tell us the rest of the story. You had this amazing day. All of a sudden, you guys are thrust into the media spotlight, and you had this amazing day. Then what happened?
So after the first year, it was great. So we ended up moving from the restaurant to an actual like open store.
Yeah.
It was great. We moved upstairs in the building, and we had the shop downstairs. So it was like kind of, and believe it or not, that place was kind of God sent too. It was kind of just
it was like right off.
It was right off the square. You know, it was, you know, the rent wasn't expensive, and he was like, okay, so here's our storefront. We can actually do an actual business. That it went well for the first year. We did great. So then the second year, I got pregnant, and I got knocked up, but we decided to have a baby. And I got pregnant a lot quicker than we expected. And so we were kind of like, okay, well, you know, we'll do Pride. We just kind of just have more people come in and help or whatever. When we decided to promote Pride, it ended up, I think it was an election year in Pulaski. And they were like voting for commissioners.
Layla, do you know?
I'm sorry.
What year was this?
2022. No,
okay.
21. It was 21.
21 was our first Pride.
Okay, and then the second year, because it was earlier in the year, so it was 22. So
They were getting ready to
like vote for the county commissioner and all that crap, and executive and mayors and all this stuff. And we're like, okay, cool. So we didn't know that with this election that they were going to take us and use us as I don't know, I guess as an example. So usually we rent the ag park here in Pulaski. They made it so difficult. When I say
they kept making us pay
money that we had to like do a fundraiser to pay for this place and stuff like that, and not to mention that we had all the fabulous religious folk, the loveliest crowd. And when I tell you, they were posting pictures of my child, they were
saying we're corrupting
children. They were walking around the square praying for us and
taking pictures of our
shop. And I mean, like, but then it wasn't just us. There were other people that were at Pride the year before. They were taking pictures of their children and posting it on social media and saying, look at this mess, and
they're stripping,
and all this stuff. So so the second Pride, it was really hard for us to do. I was very pregnant. I was in preterm at the time, so I had to be careful. And I actually was going into labor at Pride. They were like, hey, listen, we don't want to have this. I was like 23 to 24 weeks pregnant. They were like, listen, we can't have no small baby at the Pride. So we had the sheriff's department there. We had people protesting.
The sheriff's department has been wonderful too. They have been wonderful to us.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you're like, the stress of all of this is causing your pregnancy to be more difficult.
So the stress, and then
we did have protests.
We had protesters the second time. Then they were pressing the landlord where we had the business. They were saying that, it was bad, and I don't know what they said to him, but let me back up. So it got to the point to where we had to call TDI because we had people, literally like threatening us, and it got so scary that we would be in the shop and people would drive by, and they would drive by slowly. And, I had my kid in there, and I'm pregnant, and, I'm like, this is too scary for me. I don't want to get
shot because
somebody can't stand the fact that there are other people in the world that are different from them. And
we couldn't even have events. We would have events,
and we would have to have somebody, like, there was security. Like we had a friend of ours, and he was like, I'll come with my gun. I'll sit, like literally, like we had to have people there that had to carry their weapons in order for us to be safe.
Well, and also too, you guys are running a shop about spirituality and also all that stuff, and like having a gun, having the energy of having a gun there and trying to do what you're doing is like incompatible. It's incompatible.
Right. It was rough. So after that, the landlord was like, you guys got to get out. Now, mind you, that was our living situation and our business. So we lost our home, essentially. We lost our car. We lost a lot. Because there were people that just didn't want to see us succeed and be successful in what we were doing. So luckily, we were able to find a place and kind of just start all over again. We literally lost everything, income and all. When we decided to give up Pride, there was a group here, the Dallas County Inclusivity. They are, made up of a different group of people, and they decided to take on Pride last year. We were cool with it. I was cool with that. They did okay. They
needed a break.
Yeah, we really needed a break. They did good. They actually was able to get downtown on the square to do it, for them to do it.
Yeah, they had it on the square, but I don't think they had a lot of turnout just because I think people were nervous
and afraid.
That it wasn't like we had it at the ag park, so it was kind of off
the grid pretty much.
Yeah.
And, you'd have to really drive a long way just to come out and cause drama, But we didn't do it last year, and we had the baby, and we were just so focused on him and so focused on our family and trying to work on us, because it put a strain between us as well. We had a lot of things going on in the relationship because we didn't have finances. I don't think when I tell this story, I think a lot of people are like, oh, they were fine. No, they don't understand. We lost everything because we wanted to put ourselves out there and to show people that it's okay to be brave. It's okay to be courageous and do what we, to do something different.
It's okay to be not straight.
Right. So it's okay to be mixed couple, with the baby, and kids, and I don't know, it was hard, but then when they said that they couldn't do it because it was a stressful thing for them, we were like, oh no, we can't do this. We can't do this. So we decided to take it on. And so I want to give a shout out to Music City Prep.
Mm-hmm.
In Nashville, they are the title sponsor for Pride. They are amazing. They were like, look, we got you. What can we do to help you guys? We were like, okay. And then shout out to Nashville Pride. They were like, we got you. What we got to, So it's funny because we have so many people outside.
We actually have a title sponsor this year.
Yeah.
And they do great work in Nashville.
Yeah, they're fabulous. And then we have because so here's the thing. As you notice, I'm the one that does all the talking and talk to people. Yes. One that will get on the internet and do all of that stuff. So when you were talking to her, you were talking to her over the internet. Yes. Me, I'm just like, hey, I'll talk to you. We'll have a good old conversation. Sometimes I talk too much, but it's okay. But yeah, it's
So when is Pulaski Pride this year?
June 8th, from 1 to 7. It's at WD Savage Park this year.
Can you say that again, please, Erika?
WD Savage Park. I actually have the address.
Mm-hmm.
It is 116 Thompson Street.
There's not a lot.
Yes, there's not a lot of parking. But we're probably going to put like a map out of like different parking in the area, because we're going to be meeting with the sheriff department and the police departments and everything, and try to see where people can park and different things like that, because there's a lot going on in Pulaski. They're having the Sundrop Festival as well that day, so there's going to be a lot going on.
You could hit two festivals at once.
Yeah, we had a lot of people say, why would you guys do it when the Sundrop Festival is going on? We're like, why not?
Well, it's good because people can come for two things.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, there's two wonderful events that are going to go down.
It is sad because we really haven't had any local sponsors.
We had the Giles County Democratic sponsors. That was cool. I'd never been to a meeting before, never had that experience, but that was a really good experience for me. Learned a lot.
Yeah. So if people want to help, how can they help?
We definitely need volunteers. Big time. We have a bunch of tents that need to be put up. Just people because we got wristbands just to keep track of like the attendance and stuff. And then donating water.
I mean, any sponsorship, any donation, that would be great, because I mean, a lot of people don't understand this. We actually come out of our own pocket with a lot of what we have to do, and
let's try to change that. So if somebody wants to donate money and they're listening to this and they're somewhere far away, they're never coming to Pulaski, but they want to help you guys out, because I have people listening in, Great Britain, Iceland. I have people listening all over the world. So yeah, I'm like in the top 100 of, podcasts. So
you're awesome.
You guys are like, oh, I didn't know that.
We listened to a few of your podcasts, and we were just kind of like, oh, it's interesting. I love it. And, I love like podcasts.
So is there anywhere where people can donate? Do you have a GoFundMe or anything like that?
So I do have on our website, PulaskiPride.online, there's a place that you can donate, but I'm not sure if it's working or not, because some people are telling me that when they do like pay now or whatever, it's not working. So we do have Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal.
Okay.
That they can do.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get all of that information from those three accounts for Erika and Layla, and we'll put them in the liner notes of the show so that people can donate to that. I can have somebody help you take a look at your Cash App online and see if I have my web designer is a lesbian. She lives out in Washington with her wife, and I can tell her what's going on with that, and I'll ask her if she'll take a look at it, and maybe she can fix that for you guys. So how we end this show, it's so funny because I always ask people if they have a coming out song. And these two go, are you supposed to have a coming out song?
Yeah, I didn't even know you supposed to have one, so I don't know.
Did you guys, so when you were like in your prime, did you have a song that whenever you came on, it just made you feel joy about who you were?
You know what? Yeah. So
Okay, there you go.
Mary Lambert?
She Keeps Me Warm.
Keeps Me Warm. That song, I love her in that song.
Yeah.
I see her live and she's just wonderful.
Well, my wife has been out since 1985, before you two were born. And well, okay, maybe not Layla, but to be fair, I was born. But when that song came out, it just really touched her, because when she was out back in the 80s, 90s, there was the Indigo Girls, and
I love me some Indigo Girls. I don't know. That's my thing. I love me some Indigo Girls. They are wonderful. So.
But She Keeps Me Warm was like very important to her, and I remember when it was sampled at the end of the Macklemore song. And this is before I came out, and I would cry at the end of that all the time. And it was like, because there was longing there, and there was like, God, I'm not living way I'm supposed to be living, because, I didn't come out till 50. And so it was like, that song is really meaningful to me. And so we'll drop the link in case you've never heard it. It is sort of a really beautiful song.
Yeah.
How about a book or a movie that you saw that really changed your perspective about life?
So for me, when I was 16, my mom and I went into this, back in the day when you could get like VHS tapes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We went into this store, and there was this movie that I really wanted. It's called Bound. It has Jennifer Tilly and
I love Bound. Yeah,
Sean in it. So my mom was like, the guy that was like, hey, let her watch. He was a gay guy. He's like, let her watch it. It's not gonna do anything. I was 16 at the time, 16 or 17, and he was like, let her watch it. And my mom was like, okay, that's how I knew my mom was kind of changing. So I remember watching that movie, and of course, when a 16-year-old's watching that type of movie,
it's pretty. Yeah,
it was very like, okay, yeah, I'm so gay. Oh my God, like, whoa, gay, And I remember my mom was like, so how was it? I was like, well, it was a good movie. I mean, I couldn't really go into detail. Our son just knocked our light out. But I couldn't really go into detail about it. But it was one of those movies where I was just like, yeah, no.
Well, it's so funny too, because I just think about you being 16 if your mom decided to sit down and watch a video.
Oh my God, I think my mom would have lost her mind. Like, what are you watching?
God. Yeah.
Like, let me go in my room and watch it myself. And I'm by myself, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a good movie. And I was like, she's like, how else? I was great. Yeah. I love mafia movies, so it was kind of like right up my alley, like a mafia type movie, but it had like 2 women in it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. So you have to imagine a 16-year-old's mind, and it's like blown away.
It was blown.
Yeah. So I knew at a young age, but after that it was like, nope. Nah,
Erika, did you have anything that really like sort of changed your perspective on the world?
I don't think so.
I did.
Yeah. Layla changed her perspective on the world. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
I missed that. What did you say?
I said she's a whole movie, a song, a book.
That's so sweet. So you two, how would you describe your life today? You've been through a lot.
Peaceful, quiet.
We are in a bubble, so to speak. Like we're in our bubble. Like we love each other's company, and we don't have to have a ton of people around us.
We're all best friends. We're best friends with our kids. We're best friends with each other. We just are like.
And you're still in Pulaski, yes?
Yes, we've been here almost 6 years, but as long as we've been together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Good luck with everything in Pulaski Pride. And we will put if you would like to donate to Erika and Layla and Pulaski Pride, all the information will be in our show notes. And as we promote this episode, we will put the links in when I post to social and stuff like that. So I want to thank you both so much. I thank you for being so brave. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for being out there and showing a generation of children that it's okay to be themselves.
Yes.
It's not easy, but it's possible.
And
it really
it's worth
is.
it for us.
It's
worth it.
worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have to focus again.
You've been listening to Coming Out and Beyond, LGBTQIA+ stories with Anne-Marie Zanzal. New episodes of the Coming Out and Beyond podcast drop every other Friday. You can tune in at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and at annemariezanzal.com. Be sure to hit subscribe when tuning in so you never miss an episode. And for more resources, articles, videos, and a free downloadable guide for coming out later in life, visit annemariezanzal.com.